Good morning. Thank you for joining. Please feel free to share with your network, especially those who are single, even those who are married. That's fine. Dating and relationship conversation. So this has been going on for the last 5 weeks now, and we've had wonderful sessions. So today we're just going to do a quick recap. We're going to talk a little bit about belief systems, and we'll also talk about my upcoming book. I'm excited. So let's get friends and family in. I know a lot of people are probably still sleeping on a Saturday morning. So we're going to continue this conversation today. I'm pretty sure people will get it. Catch the recap. If you've been here prior to this week and in the previous session, please let me know how you've enjoyed the previous sessions. So we're starting and continuing this conversation on dating and relationships. It's not like I'm just doing this for fun. It's a learning ground. It's a place to impart knowledge. And today we're going to have question and answer session. So today it's about you. It's about your experiences and what you want to learn. And I'm also going to talk about my upcoming book. Do a quick recap of previous sessions and answer any questions people might have. And then see how you can, get involved towards my book launch. So excited. So dating and relationship conversation, this is a topic I'm very passionate about, because it's things you do in this stage really impact our lives. Even though we tend to do it maybe without too much preparation sometimes, or without enough support or guidance, a lot of the things we do can impact our lives down the line. I personally believe I've always believed in love. I'm blessed to have wonderful parents. Just celebrated their 35th year anniversary last week. Been blessed to be part of such family. And so coming from a family where, my parents worked together, I've desired a home. I've desired a marriage. I've desired a good man. And so today, my topic is challenging your belief systems. I want to challenge belief systems today. I believe a lot of the things we do have its core in something. There are many foundations that come into play on, thank you, ma'am, thank you so much, come into play on who we are. Many things come into play. There are people, typically the things that becomes our belief system forms our core belief and our expectation, and we go on with those things in life, looking for those things to satisfy everything we've crafted in our minds as our expectation of what we want, the reality we desire. Please do somebody a favor and have them join the session. Just kind of click the share button. It's the arrow on the right, and share with somebody you know. Let them join this conversation today. We're going to have question and answers. If you have teenagers too, have them join. If you have, anyone that's single or even married, let's talk about these things. We'll find that some of the things we've skipped when we were dating and prior to getting married, we can probably still apply now that we're married. Really, we're learning every day. So yeah, belief system. Movies, oh my God, movies. As a girl, and even for guys, there's this thing that society has placed on the fact that Prince Charming will go save the princess from the castle, and she will be waiting for him to come sweep her off her feet and give her that kiss of her life, and she will be smitten, and then they live happily ever after, right? Isn't that always desirable? Isn't that what people always just look forward to and like, oh my God, I can't wait for my Prince Charming. And Prince Charming too is looking for that princess. And those belief systems. Princess thinks Prince Charming is going to be the answer to everything in her life. And Prince Charming too probably feels like, yes, I'm gonna solve this girl's mystery. I'm gonna take all of her pain away, and we will live happily ever after. And then they get into marriage, and sometimes it's a disaster, and sometimes they don't know what to do. And I thought you were supposed to do this for me. I thought you were gonna fix me. I thought you were gonna make me happy. I thought you were gonna be the wife I've always wanted. And everybody's mad, and everybody's not, meeting each other's needs, because you get past the romance phase sometimes, or the honeymoon phase, and reality sets in. Do we prepare our minds for reality? So again, I want to challenge your belief systems this morning. What are your beliefs? What are your core beliefs? Are you looking for Prince Charming? Like me when I started out in life, before I learned some valuable life lessons, that it's not always as easy as the seem. And you've got to look deeper. Are you that person that just believes that? Do you also believe, for me as a Christian, do you believe that you can get a God-given partner? Do you believe that the person for you is God ordained? Do you believe that God will make it happen? Do you believe that you have to put some work in it? Do you believe that you have to please and please and please somebody before you get desirable? What has gone into your core belief? Some people's background is not always favorable to help them see the positive things about marriage. So their belief system about a partner is, you can't trust anybody. And so it doesn't matter, even if a good person comes, you're always going to be looking over your shoulder. Maybe your belief system is, you have to always work and work and work to please somebody. You have to be a people pleaser to be desirable. You have to show yourself a certain way. You have to look a certain way to be desirable. And you always have to beg for love. Maybe you come from a background where, there's always cheating, or there's no cordiality in that home or around you. Sometimes people come from good families, but the people around them, maybe neighbors, friends of the family, don't have good enough marriages to emulate from, and they're close to them. And they start thinking, no, all men are scum, or all women are not trustworthy. And so they come with that view and cannot open up to anyone. What's your belief system? Do you feel like you're not cute enough? You're not handsome enough. You're not the good image of what a woman wants, or an image of what a man wants. And so you have to go the extra mile to look like what somebody would want, to be marketable. I use that word in my book, honestly, marketable, because everybody's trying to make themselves marketable to be desirable by the person they're looking for. So again, what's your belief system? Even if you're in marriage already, what's your belief system? A lot of us are fighting, including myself. Certain belief systems are affecting your marriages. And if you're in a relationship, check yourself. Check what you believe in. That doesn't even have to do with anything about your partner or the person you're with. But it's all you, your baggages, your past, your upbringing, your outlook on life, your expectations, and they're all affecting the way you see marriage. They're affecting the way you see relationships. They're affecting the way you relate with that person that's with you. And then you'll find people then being in relationships with you and be like, what's going on? Why are you thinking that way? Why are you doing this thing? And you're like, because you have your own norm. Are you sabotaging yourself based on your background, based on your belief, based on your expectation? I need you to figure them all out at this time. Even religion sometimes is killing some people. That could be part of your belief system that is hurting you and your outlook on life and what you're looking for in a man and a woman. I want to challenge again your belief system this morning. Bring it all out. Open your book and work on you. And this is where I talk about, in my book, I've laid it out in phases. And the phases before even meeting a person has to do with your core belief and your person. That's the preparation phase. Your core belief and the person that you are. Everything that goes into your being, your core being as an individual. You need to deal with that person first. You need to work on that person first. You need to work on your belief system. You need to work on the things that make you you, so you can make sure that you're in tune with yourself. That you are so in tune with yourself and your values before you go out looking for someone that's going to complement you. Otherwise, there are going to be clashes. Otherwise, there are going to be bumps in the road. And especially if the other person also has issues with their belief systems. We believe what we believe, and they become our truth. And so we stand by it every day and every time. So let's look at it. I want this to be interactive. If at any point in time you feel the need to come on, request to join, I will bring you on. And if you have questions and comments, put it in the chat box. What belief system do you think has affected your relationships? If you're married, it could be when you were single, what your belief system was, and how that affected your relationship, and how you've been able to work through that to fix it. Like I mentioned earlier, the belief system of, for me, believing that, hey, love is beautiful, which is true. Love is beautiful coming from a loving home. And also, with the mindset of, oh, Prince Charming, and, you get swept off your feet, and, you find your Prince Charming, and, and they live happily ever after. Every woman deserves and desires the living happily ever after. And that can make you sometimes get in trouble, because not every person you meet will become your happily ever after, right? Sorry, I have to drink water. I've been dealing with the cold for a while. So you'll probably hear my dry voice, and I'm still getting over a cough. So I'm seeing questions here. So we start with that mindset. It becomes what propels you into what you're looking for. Oh, you become even smitten before you become smitten. You become excited for what's coming, that it can be very dangerous towards who you open your door to and who you allow into your space. So I see a question here. What is the right age to date? I would not put an age to it, so to say. However, if you're still pretty young and you're still in high school or middle school or all of that, I'm sorry, you have really no business dating at that time. Dating, I think getting an understanding of what dating is about helps to understand it. Are you prepared for marriage? I would say that. Are you prepared that whatever you have at the time is going to lead you to marriage? And that's the answer. Starting with the end in mind. That's the way I would approach it. Starting with the end in mind. What is your purpose for wanting to date? When you establish your purpose for wanting to date, it will help you to know whether it's the right time. It's just like saying, what's the right age to go to university? You cannot go to the university at the age of 4. Except you're an extra genius and there's something extra about you. And even at that time, some of the social and, level of maturity you're going to need to match up that lifestyle, even if you have the intelligence, it's not going to match up with the societal and social maturity you're going to need at that time. So it's still going to be unbalanced. So yeah, liken it to that. Do you want to go to university at the age of 4? It will help you to know the right time to probably go to the university, and then you feel like you're prepared. Preparation again. Are you prepared mentally to know that dating is going towards marriage? It's going towards a commitment. Are you able to feed yourself? Do you have a roof over yourself over your head by yourself? Are you able? Do you work? Are you working towards your own independence? Are you a whole person? Have you fixed the things that you need to fix? Have you fixed your own relationship with yourself? Why do you want to date? And that will be my question to someone who asks, what's the right age to date? It's not about age. It's about mindset. It's about how prepared you are, and it's about your purpose. So if you can tell me why you want to date, then we'll talk about, yes, working towards it. However, prior to dating, you can build friendship. Learn how to relate with the opposite sex. When people are young, I was in a group discussion with 7 to 8-year-olds. I think that age range was like 6 to 10-year-olds. I'm telling you, there were boys, and boys were talking about, falling in love and having a girlfriend, and a girl likes me in my class. I'm telling you, if you have people within that age, maybe you should have those conversations with your kids. And tell me, what do you think about a boyfriend or a girlfriend? They will tell you, this girl likes me in my class, and she's asked if I want to be her boyfriend, and there's this girl I like. I want her. Actually, someone might be, one of the kids who was like, well, because I come from a good home, I want to find a girl now, so that when I get older, and I become famous, then I know that I have someone I've always known, and it won't be about my fame anymore. You would be amazed at what these kids think about. And we started talking about, yes, you can have friends, but boyfriends and girlfriends, they're not within your range right now. They're not for kids. You can have friends, and you need to respect boundaries. So start teaching boys at a very young age. You don't go past boundaries. Ask them, what do boyfriend and girlfriend do? Somebody was like, smooch. Okay, smooch. You start thinking about those things. They're expressing love, expressing feelings. They know that you can kiss, especially when you come from homes where your parents are expressing love to themselves, and daddy's always kissing mommy and always hugging mommy, and mommy's always doing that with daddy. We're starting to spark up some feelings in our kids. But we also want to teach them that you don't just go around and look for anybody that's a boy like daddy. I mean, my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old, they call their dad a boy. The daddy's a boy. Of course, they love their dad to death. I love my dad too. So, of course, you have an image. Thank God for great parents. And it's the same thing for boys. They're in love with their moms. So when they're getting to certain ages, they want to express the love they're feeling or experiencing in their background to someone else of the opposite sex. That's why we need to start teaching our kids that, hey, yes, this is because daddy and mommy are old enough, but for you have to go through a stage. It might be a discussion to have with your kids too. Okay, have friendship. Friendship meaning learn how to relate with the opposite sex. Learn what not to say, what to accept and what not to accept if you're a girl. Learn what you can accept from a man. And when a guy is doing this to you, that's unacceptable. You start building the foundation for them at that age before they start dating. So that when they start dating, they assess the level of maturity of the boys. So it's all about maturity. It's not about age. Unfortunately, there are people who are at the right age. If you want to think about it, maybe they're young adults in college. I think college is a good sweet spot for starting to make sure you're dating and, knowing how to relate with people, knowing what you like and trying to, I think college is good, but you don't want that to distract you. You don't want it to be all about that. But you don't also want to neglect the fact that this can be a place where you start building a great marriage and, foundation for a potential marriage. Find someone that can complement you for the future. I mean, if you ask me, I would say. Okay, there's some comment here. You said something about the impact of your background or your expectations. Would you have to lower your standard in order to find someone? How do you decide what to compromise on? Great question. That's the thing. I love this question. The impact of background on your expectation. I think it's important. Again, belief system is what helps you to go out into the market to know what to look for. For everyone joining right now or later, what I'm doing today is challenging your belief system, your mindset, your core values, what you take into dating. So that's where this question has come from. It's just like going to the market. You want to go buy something. You have to know what you're looking for. Again, you have to know what you have. You have to know what purpose it serves. You have to know just the right amount you need to be able to bring back home. You need to know your belief system is going to become your standard, and you don't have to lower anything for anything. It becomes who you are. The right person will fit into that space. However, you need to make sure that your expectations are realistic. You need to make sure they're realistic enough to carry you through. Again, there are some belief systems that are very unrealistic. If you come from a great family where, again, maybe your father has always been responsible, your mother has always been a great mom, great role model. They're letting you know what a family should stand for, and they are taking care of their responsibility, and you believe that's the kind of marriage you desire. There's nothing wrong with desiring that. So when you find a person that's so selfish, they're only about themselves, you would know from your core value, my dad and my mom were not like this. Or maybe it's an uncle's marriage you like and your parents' marriage were not there. As a matter of fact, the bad things you didn't like about your parents' marriage can be part of what forms your core value of what you wouldn't want for yourself. But they don't have to become a strategy to fight for your future or fight against somebody else. It just helps you to filter out what you don't want. So that's where we need to become very cognizant and observant of our environment. Become a learner of life. Become a learner of the school of life. We're having experiences and scenarios every day. Even with me watching a movie, I'm taking life lessons. I'm sorry, people who know me. I watch movie like it's so real. I'm responding like, for real, why would he do that to her? Why would she do that to him? Because there are things that you believe in, and when it doesn't look right, it is not right. So please, if it doesn't look right to you, if it doesn't feel right to you, it is most likely not right. So don't compromise on what doesn't feel right to you. Why would you even compromise? And so that's where preparing for dating, you need to know what you would like, what you would desire. Make sure at the top of your list, your no-nos are there. Your big deal breakers are there. What exactly are you looking for? Like, this person has to check this on my list. They have to have this. If they don't have it, that's my number one criteria of a no. So have that on your list. Make sure, for me, my big deal was, I've always wanted a God-fearing man. And what does it mean? I think a lot of Christians say that. I've always wanted a God-fearing man. How do you know a God-fearing man? You want to make sure they have God in them first. So that means they're Christians. I wasn't going to compromise on my religion. I would never date out of my religion. I would never have dated out of my religion. And I never did that. And I would say it is because stand for what you stand for. If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. I would tell you, I'm a hopeless romantic. I fall in love, deeply. And so I don't know how to play with my heart. Anything I'm not going to take, anything I know is not going to serve me down the line, if it's not going to be a person that I can potentially see a future with, that I can potentially get married to, or even fit the picture of someone that can be a father to my kids. Yeah, think down the line right from the beginning. You work with that person you're trying to talk to and start assessing and project into the future. But even when you're dating and they're responding to some questions, you start looking, okay, mindset. You see where we're starting to talk about challenging belief system? Belief system right now helps you to prepare for that future that you desire. Because the way a person thinks and acts and does things start helping you to know whether that's something you want in your space and that's something that's going to gel with you or something that's going to complement you, or you guys can at least, have a reasonable conversation without all the time bumping heads. Belief system. If you're always thinking, how would you even think that way? Is that even normal? If almost every conversation comes to, are you okay? Is that normal? Where did that come from? That doesn't sound right. This is not looking right. No. Start thinking about those things. And so and those are red flags that we subtly look over and say, they are who they are. I have to be accommodating to them. They can't be like me. Of course, nobody can be like you. But you need somebody to compliment you. If every time everything is like back, friction, that's not good. I mean, you can't agree on everything. That's true. That's the truth. But again, having your no-nos first. My guest from last week talked about, the kind of political view he's looking for in the person that he's wanting to be with. Some people think deeply about that. Political view, religious views, think about the way they embrace society, their way of life. There are Christian relationships that don't even merge well, that are not quite it. I have met Christians who are not God-fearing. So that's where I needed to, look deeply in terms of who I was looking for. And so when I got to know a Christian, that I was trying to learn more about the God-fearing part. And so when I tend not to see the God-fearing part, that's when we then start to make sure that we're filtering people out. What is God-fearing to you? What is a Christian to you? Is it a church goer? Is it enough for somebody to tell you they go to church, okay? So what? Any devil goes to church. Devil knows the Bible. I mean, they threw the devil out of heaven. So what are we talking about? So that's where we need to look deeply. You need to be rooted in what you're rooted in. If your roots are not firm enough, and then you meet somebody, they're going to shake your roots. Oh, I should tell you, love would test you. You think you're looking for love? That love would test you, and you better be ready to stand. So that's why, again, work on you to the level of maturity that you're ready to let somebody into your space. And even when you let someone into your space, you're not letting your guard down, because a lot has gone into this person. Unfortunately, a lot of people go into relationships and become broken, because they let their guards down. Let their guards down before going into marriage. And so marriages are nursing broken people, unfortunately. Marriages are nursing people who didn't put a lot of work into their background and themselves prior to getting married. And they feel like getting married will fix everything. Yes, we're working towards perfection gradually every day. Love doesn't fix everything quickly and immediately. Marriage doesn't make your pain go away. If you've been abused, challenging belief systems, experiences. There are people who've been abused when they were younger. Tell me those people will not have trust issues. Even when they have good partners around them, they will always be defensive. It's not their fault. It's their experience. Work on you. Work on the things that have made you so bitter, things that have made you so angry, things that have made you so antsy, things that have made you so anxious and fearful and scared before you have someone to go with. Because then, I was listening to a sermon this week, and that pastor said, broken people, when you bring two broken people together, then they become even more broken. No, broken people break people. Because then, no matter how much the other person tries to help you, because you're so broken, you might project your brokenness onto that person. Someone else that you're with might be suffering for what they didn't even create in your life. So let's work on those things. I see someone's requesting to join this live, so I'm going to bring you on. Is there a question you're having or wanting to be part of this conversation? So how do you decide what to compromise on? I hope I answered that question there. Don't lower your expectation, but at the same time, find out, you need to determine, are your expectations realistic? But if lowering your standard, even the fact that I'm hearing lowering doesn't sound good to me, because lowering makes it seem like we're bringing ourselves down so somebody can then fit in. Your standard help you to filter in those who will not match into your space, and who would not fit in, and it's okay. I think the last 2 weeks I talked about having a funnel vision. I mean, I used to have my guard up very high. Like I said, I value my heart. I don't want to be heartbroken, so I don't play yo-yo with my heart. I don't just let anybody into my space. If I'm getting to know a person, and red flags from the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, if you're like the way you talk, the way you think, and just the company you keep says a lot about a person. Sometimes if you just look at the social circle, you get to know, is this project into the future again? Start looking at, are these people, the friends of this person, the people I want to be my, social circle when I'm married? Are these the people I want around me? Is this the kind of environment I want to be in? There's nothing wrong with that. Start looking at what it is. Now, I'm going to bring something in about money. A lot of people, I've been in conversations on Clubhouse, and there was a conversation about, ladies, would you date somebody who's not a six-figure earner? This is one thing I think the money part we need to talk about. Everybody's looking for a six-figure earner. They need to have money and have everything. I think that's one thing that people don't always talk about, but there's expectations. So there are people, especially we're talking about belief system, right? So if you're a woman who's always desired a man, maybe your dad was the provider. Yes. So your dad was the provider of the home, and breadwinner. He made all of the money. Your mom didn't work, and she's a stay-at-home mom, and daddy provided everything. And so when you go out, you want a man exactly like that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having that mindset. However, you have to decide for yourself, is that exactly what you want? And I will tell you the truth today. Your dad and mom's experience are not yours. Their journey is theirs and not yours. For me as a Christian, I believe that it's important for you. I see my dad and my mom. Hi, Daddy, Mommy. They've just joined. I mean, isn't it interesting? They joined as soon as I started talking about daddies and mommies. But yeah, as beautiful as, the journey and background you might be, your parents' experience are different from yours. Even the bad experiences, if you have a bad background, I don't want to say bad, not so good, not so desirable background for you, it doesn't mean that's going to be your journey. So sometimes we become unfair to people we meet because of what has gone into us. So finding somebody that's exactly, like your daddy, or finding somebody exactly like your mom, is like trying to get somebody to be who they're not. You can desire some qualities in your parents. You can desire some qualities from your uncle's marriage. You can desire some qualities from your pastor's marriage. But that is not your journey. That's why you need to discern right. Ask God. Pray to God. God, you know me. He crafted me. Oh God, just working with God has helped me to realize that He's my creator. Just like Adam and Eve, He created Adam. And that story, I think if you haven't really meditated on it, sit down and just meditate on creation and look at the first man and the first woman, how they came to be. God formed Adam, and he finished up his work, provided everything Adam needed, and then decided that it is not good for this man to be alone, and crafted, hear the word, crafted, built, customized, formed a woman that fitted exactly into that man's space and needs, and complemented him. Again, I challenge your belief system. Do you believe God can do the same for you? Do you believe that God knows exactly your specifications and what you look for? And I will say something again. Sometimes what you're looking for is not what's good for you. Sometimes what you're looking for doesn't come wrapped in the gift wrap that you're looking for. Great conversation before the internet went off. I hope this is stable well enough. We were talking about belief system. We're talking about experiences, knowing what you want. I think it's very important that you know what you want. Challenge, I think, your belief systems, what you believe about you, what you believe about marriage, what you believe about the kind of partner you're looking for, what you believe about life, all goes into how you approach the dating phase and the person you meet and your preparation towards where you're going. And even your purpose for dating, your outlook on life can all form what you believe. And unfortunately, these belief systems go with a lot of people into marriage. And so if it doesn't mess up in the middle, while you're still dating, it can still mess up the marriage down the line. You manage to roughen it through or just go through, yeah, it will still, it will still show up later. So let's deal with now, with the now, what's part of what we believe in right now. Fix ourselves now before getting into marriage so we can enjoy the happily ever after. Happily ever after just doesn't just come with marriage. And I want to let you know, your happily ever after starts now while you're single. Your happily ever after, write it down somewhere. My happily ever after starts now. Before I meet the person, before we go out today, before anything else, your happily ever after is here and now with you. So ask yourself, am I happy as a person? Do I love the person I am? Am I okay the way I am? Something in our society has made us feel like you're not okay being alone. Yes, the Bible said to about Adam, it is not good for man to be alone. But Adam was definitely fine being alone. Adam did not cry to God, God, I'm alone. I'm so lonely. I need a woman. I need a man. But today, we're the ones crying to God when God has not found the need in us. Why is your 14-year-old out there looking for a husband? What are you doing to talk to them? What are you doing to teach them? Also, be mindful of, sometimes, yes, we as parents, we want to show love to our kids. After a time, we want to show them what a marriage is. But when they start having feelings, talk about it openly. Talk about it openly. Talk about sex. Talk about these things. They're going to desire sex after a while. They're going to desire love after a while. Tell them about what not to look for. We're having people just looking for love and fulfillment from human beings that cannot give it to them because they feel like that's how daddy and mommy used to express it to themselves. Or that's what the society is telling them. That's what movies is telling them. And you think it's going to fix you. And sex does not even fix people anymore. It's breaking people before getting into marriage. And so people are broken. And marriages cannot fix them. So can we start now? Can we start the conversation? I work in the field of healthcare that works on prevention. My whole life, I've gotten a mix of healthcare, being on the care coordination side with people with chronic health diseases, and I'm also getting to work on prevention. But with the thing on prevention, there's framework, there's systemic issues. Systemic issues is at the core of the issues we're seeing on the surface. People who are having health problems, some health problems, some maybe you can't help if it's genetic. Some can be in the food you eat. Some can be in the systems you have in place. Some can be in the toxic environment you're in. That's systemic. So that becomes your challenge system. It becomes your framework. It becomes your build. And some people are just naturally angry. Angry. It doesn't matter how much you make them happy. They're just bitter and angry people. Systems that have crashed them. So it doesn't matter what happy thing you get. And then it messes them up. I want to challenge your belief system today. Before you go looking for someone else, check where you're broken. Check what is affecting you before you start dating. So if someone wants to know what age they want to date, let's start talking about who are you? What are you looking for? Where are you in life? Where are you going in life? Have you achieved half of what you want to achieve in life? And how are you going to get there? What is your plan? When you get the plan for where you're going to, you set a timeline for it. Set a timeline for marriage. Set a timeline for when you're supposed to be dating. There's nothing wrong with having timelines. If you're in college right now, I would encourage you, start having friends. Have friendships. Even sometimes there are people who are in marriages right now. Their friends in college became their husbands and their wives. When our first guests at the shows, they were friends. Automatically, their friendship morphed into marriage. And they don't even know when they said "I love you" first. They didn't know how that happened. So start having friends with the opposite sex. Mix with people. I think it's okay. Don't just feel like you're about school alone, and you let go of that as you prepare for life. This is also part of what you prepare for, but don't be too desperate. Don't be too all about it where it makes other aspects of your life suffer. So there's a question about what to do when you can't recognize the red flag. Fix you. Why can't you recognize red flags? If you're driving your car, even cars, they're programming cars right now. Cars that don't have mouth. Cars that don't have brains. Cars that human beings created. I'm sorry, I'm getting passionate here. It's time to be honest with ourselves. We're in a culture that is sugarcoating things for people. It's okay. The heart won't want the heart one. The heart speaks. Please, your heart doesn't speak. Your heart doesn't have a mouth. Your heart and your brain should work together. Let it work together. Let your brain wake up your heart. Let your heart allow your brain to send a neurologic sensor to your mind to activate it to tell you, wake up, boo. No, that ain't it. This is not it. This is not the person for you. Okay? If cars that are being programmed to have sensors now, we'll have cars that when you're driving them and you're about to go to the right, it starts beeping, beep, 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 beep. You better move. Why would you, a human being that's driving that, you can hear the beep, beep of the car and you don't want to turn? What is that? What is that? You're hearing the beep, 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 and you're not stopping. What's going on? What's going on with the sensor? So check the sensor. Brother, sister, check your sensor. It's there. Before marriage, it is there. Some people unfortunately get into marriage and it's not there. When they've tried everything they can try, if you have your sensor in place, unfortunately, people find themselves in situations that doesn't happen. So I'm not one who wants to judge marriage. I just get so I get so burdened. I get so burdened that marriages are crashing. Marriages are crashing. Marriages are breaking. At the onset, some are breaking. But we're here for the ones who haven't gone into marriage yet. And even if you're in marriage, start fixing those things. Right now, we're starting to embrace mental health, and trying to seek help. For the longest time, there are people walking around with mental health problems, and they're not dealing with that part, and they feel like marriage is going to fix it, and it's not. Some people are just not happy. Some are just not happy. Some are depressed. If you've been in relationships that have broken you, and has broken your trust, and you don't know how to trust anyone anymore, you don't know what to think about, how to look for anything, you felt like you did everything in the beginning, you tried to check your dots and it didn't work out, that kind of person is going to be mentally weak to some extent before they can let someone else in. And at that time, I want to let you know you can't do it alone. Please don't do it alone. Seek help. Seek help. Be in a community that supports you to feel better. Talk to a therapist. If you can get the money, please talk to a therapist. If you don't have the money, talk to your pastor. Please be nursed back to mental health, where you can feel loved again, where you can love yourself, where you believe that you're worthy of being loved, that no matter how much a relationship has put you down, you know you're worthy of being loved, and you can get the best of the best person, regardless of the age where that thing broke off. Again, your belief system. Do you believe that God can give you your life partner, and He knows exactly what you need, and He knows you in and out, regardless of where you've been? I am telling you, God has a plan for you and I, and it doesn't matter how the past has been. His plan must come to pass, no matter how much the enemy fights it. I want to tell you, the devil's job is to make sure that you don't fulfill God's plan. So he would always bring the wrong people to you. He will always bring the wrong appearance to you. Some would look like the ones you're looking for, but that is not God's plan for you. I want to ask you, if you have been dating, and that dating, your trend for dating has been the same pattern over and over again, and it still doesn't end up where you're going, I want to tell you that those things you've been looking for, if it's been a certain type, that type is not your type. Your type that you believe is your type is really not your type. It is not God's plan for you. It's time to drop it. It's time to let go of those specifications. It's time to go back to the drawing board. Go check your list. Whatever you had in your list, there's something that is there that is not God's plan for you. You need to align it with God's plan. I'm coming down on the end of this time today. I want to let you know that God has a plan for you. He knows, and He has a plan for you. His plan is to bring you to an expected end. His plan to bring you to a fruitful and an expected end. He knows the plans He has for you. But His plans cannot come to pass if your desires are tending to be greater than His plans. And the same thing, God would grant you the desires of your heart. If you don't submit your will to Him, He's letting you have your red flags. He's putting the red flags in place, and you're not listening to it. You will fall. You can't blame God for it, but He'll be there to pick you up and still be cheering you on, so you can see the red flag, so you can see how to move out of it. However, God helps those who help themselves. Please help God help you. Can you please just submit it to God? If you've been trying, it hasn't worked out, or you haven't started, now is the best time. Begin to give God your specifications. Your list, when you come up with your list, just say, God, I lay it out at your feet. I submit this to your will. I submit this to your will. If you're in a relationship that you're not feeling too good about, submit it to God's will. Submit it to God's will. At a point in time, there was a time I had to pray the prayer of God's will. Let your will be done. Let your will be done. I could have been married at the age that I put on my list. It's good to have a timeline too, but also know that God will have your timeline. You will work through it and be ready to submit to God's timeline. Okay? It just helps you to have a focus. But don't just know that it's not yours to control. Let God work through you. I could have been married at the age I thought I wanted to be married, but God gave me the option. Yes, this is your desire. You can have it now. I could have been married at the age of 25. However, God helped me to see why that wasn't the time yet. It was difficult at that time. I had to pray the prayer of God, let your will be done. So if you're in a relationship today, a relationship that you know you're seeing red flags, but you're so deep and immersed in it that you don't know how to get out of it, pray to God, Lord, let your will be done. My prayer was, God, no matter how much I get in your way, let your will be done. You might not have the strength for it, but pray, God, let your will be done. You're not dating yet. Your belief system. Begin to say, God, I believe that you have the plans for me. You know my husband. I want to tell you now, if you're single, God knows the right person for you. God can see into your future. That future that seems so bleak and blurry, that home that you desire so much, exactly the number of kids you're going to have, exactly the kind of life you're going to have, exactly the kind of husband you're going to have. He has them. He has the end. So why are you stressing yourself now and not submitting to God so He can take you there? So submit it all. That's my challenge to you today. Submit, submit, submit. I'm wrapping up the session. I don't know if there's any other questions, but I just want to believe that God will show you. God is working with you. God is talking to you. The red flags are God's voices. These are God's voice, God's whispers to you. Listen and let Him work with you, and He will not disappoint. Thank you so much for joining this session today. If you haven't caught up on the previous sessions, click on the link in my bio. That's the link to the YouTube link, to my YouTube page. Catch up on previous sessions. Start working on you, and start thinking about where you've been and where you're going. Set a purpose for dating. Set a purpose for going into a relationship. When it's time to start committing in like courtship is you and a person agreeing towards marriage. If someone you want to be with, if you've been dating for years now and you cannot commit, both of you don't have an idea of where you're going, I challenge you in that relationship right now. Go work on it. Determine what it is where you're going. If it doesn't serve God's purpose in your life, pray about it and let God give you the strength. If it needs to break, let it break. If it needs to be reset, let it be reset. If it needs to reroute, let it be reroute. Whatever it needs to be. You do not have time to waste time. Many people are with time wasters. Nobody's doing anybody a favor. If you're a girl, no guy is doing you a favor by being married to you. So you're not if you're waiting at the mercy of a guy, that is not God's plan for you. God's plan for you will work together with you towards God's plan. If you're a guy, you're not waiting for a woman. You're not a savior for a woman. You're not a savior for a woman. God positions you to work with somebody so you can work together towards His will. A man that cannot submit to God's will right now and feels like they're your God, make sure that you're not seeing them as God, because then that is not God's will for you. You need to work together with God to help you to see the right person for you. So again, a guy is not doing a girl a favor. You're not doing a girl a favor by marrying her. A girl, you're not at the mercy of a guy. You're both working in God's plan, and you need to both submit to God to take you to where you need to be. So follow on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share with people. My launch date, my book launch is coming in November. Mark it on your calendars, November 19th. Please be there. If you're interested in a copy of my book, I'm going to do a book reveal in this October, sometime this week or early next week. Wait for it. We're going to do a book cover review. Join my launch team. Be part of the very first few people that are going to get it. And please, if you can commit to also writing a review on that book, once you get it, I would really appreciate it. Even if it's a chapter or two, you're able to read quickly, get a review out. My goal, I haven't just written this book for fame. I wrote this book because God put it in my mind. I feel like there's a need for a lot of guidance, in this environment, in this scene of dating and relationship, to guide people, challenge your mindset, think about the different phases of relationship, and let God work with you. So feel free, if you want to see how you can get involved, or if you want to make sure you have a copy, let me know right now that you want a copy. Want to make sure you get the first few that I'm going to be ordering, and I have it down for you. So stay tuned, and please help to repost whatever I post in preparation for my book. I'm willing to, partner so we can make sure we get this book in the hands of people who really need it and need support in working towards getting their God-given partner. So work towards it with me. Pray along with me. Pray. My prayer is that this book helps to release people into their marital destiny, what God has in plan for them. And I believe that God can do it. Thank you so much. I'm a living testimony, and I believe that God has a plan for you. He loves you. He wants you to have the best, and you're deserving of the best. Again, launch date is November 19th. You're going to see the flyer coming out this week. Please help to share and repost. Plan to be there. Want to bless lives, and let's do this together. Thank you so much. Catch up on previous episode on YouTube, and God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.